Hello and welcome to Not That This, the pop culture talk show where I interview artists and influencers to find out their fool's gold and hidden gems, those massively popular things that they hate and those unknown or underrated masterpieces that they love. My name's Geraint Evans and I used to be cool. So, this is episode 10. I want you to have a creative voice in this podcast, so I'm allowing you to choose my theme tune. You're currently hearing one of the options. I'll tell you how to vote at the end of the episode. My guest today is Dean Burnett, a man with a CV as long as your arm. He's a neuroscientist, a comedian, a blogger for The Guardian, and the author of the hugely successful worldwide book, The Idiot Brain. It was lovely to catch up with Dean. We know each other a bit from our past lives as comedians, but he's great for this podcast because he's not just talented and successful, but also a massive geek. And that's what we're looking for, right? Anyway, here's the interview. Hello, Dean.
Hello, Geraint.
How are you?
All right.
Yeah?
So far, so good.
Thank you for having me in your lovely little cabin.
Yes.
in your back garden.
Yes, this is my wooden box in which I spend most of my time now.
As a man who lives in a flat, this is I'm well gel.
Well, sorry about that.
that's all right.
I haven't seen your flat. I'm assuming it's fine, but
I mean, it's a lovely flat.
Yes,
but it is a flat.
Yeah.
You know.
I have lived in a flat. Don't worry. I'm aware of the concepts. I'm aware of the nature of them.
That's good. So you're smashing it at the minute, right? So we know each other from sort of way back in the day. Stand-up comedy, South Wales.
Yeah. The general scene, really, the local scene is what
I'd
call it.
Yeah, I've got some people coming out of that smashing it at the moment. Jordan Brooks specifically is doing very well.
The most recent alumni of.
Yeah. But you are the first person in a creative sense that I ever got like properly jealous of.
Oh, again, apologies. I can't pin down what you're referring to, but I'll say.
No, it's all right because generally my attitude towards sort of my friends in creative careers is, you know, there's no finite amount of success.
No,
right?
Of course not. No.
Do your thing, do it well. Eventually, I mean, you may not become a superstar, but you'll make a living out of it. You'll do well.
That's generally the advice I've heard. Yeah. So, yeah.
But when you first started writing for The Guardian,
yeah, I guess that was a cushy deal.
I was like, I want to write a funny thing for The Guardian. I was really upset. I mean, I'm over it now, it's fine.
Don't sound over it. It sounds like there may be some residual feelings there.
I think what's helped is the fact that it's so good. Like, I really enjoy it. My favourite one is the Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
which is about a year old now, I suppose. Like, maybe a bit longer.
I can't remember that one now.
But I've revisited that.
Oh, I see. Right.
Where you sort of like if they had a fight, basically, like you really analyse the weapons and they just go, yeah, this is what would happen. Star Trek wins. If anyone's interested.
I think so, personally.
Yeah.
The text seems better. That's all it is, really. It boils down to that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're not analysing the qualitative sort of nature of the media. It's the
narrative is irrelevant in this particular discussion.
Yeah. And since then, from off your Guardian. Was it a column? Is it in The Guardian or is it just on the website?
It's technically a blog. It's on the Science Network on the website. It's one of the blogs there, Science Blog Network, which does result in, when I tell people what I do, it does result in it's like the exact opposite of crisps. You know, crisps, the more specific you get, the more fancy and impressive they are. Like, it's not salt and vinegar, it's refined sea salt and malt cider vinegar, malt cider Somerset hand-pressed vinegar. Like, ooh, but with me it's the opposite. It's like, I say I write for The Guardian, people go, I say, Guardian website. The science section, blogs. And then by the time I finished, I lost interest and wandered off. Like, it doesn't sound quite as good then. But people will say, like, I've been referred to as a columnist, as a journalist sometimes, which I'm not. I would not. That is a specific job. I do not do it. But, But I'm technically a blogger, if you want to go on the actual, my contract says. But, But that also is a sort of a vague term now, and if it's I'm a blogger for a major website. With global reach,
that's it. You're not some dude with a WordPress site. Like you're on something proper, and you've been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah, 5 years actually. It was the first blog that went up on my 30th birthday. So
that's nice.
It's an easy way to keep track.
That's a lovely little birthday present for you.
Yes, it was odd, yeah, because I just announced on the ad, oh yeah, by the way, I do this now. I have no preamble whatsoever. What? Yeah, this is my thing now.
Yeah, so like off the back of that, I presume you get the book deal, right?
Yeah, it was a strange one because I'd been doing it. I must be doing it less than a year actually, and it was going well. Like 9 or 10 months in, I was sort of making a bit of a noise because I was. For those who don't know, the brain flapping blog was not a title I'm still not entirely happy with.
Yeah, did you title it or did they?
Technically, yes, because they kept asking for what title did you want, and my previous blog, which was a blogger one, not a WordPress, was or Blogspot, whatever it was called.
Yeah, it's that one of the many blog websites.
It's that long ago, I don't remember what it was on. I was Science Digestive, like Science Digest, but it's like biscuit name, vaguely humorous takes on scientific things.
Yeah,
which was I think some people were doing it, but it was nowhere near mainstream. Still isn't really. Yeah. But I thought, well, I can't use that again because it's pre-existing. So they said, like, obviously they want me to do more of a neuro-leaning, so I'm a neuroscientist, so something to do with brains. I kept trying to think of it. I couldn't think of a good one. My friend Simon just went, I just call it brain flaps. All right, I'll just suggest that. And they said, the response was, we see what you're going for, but it's slightly vaginal. So like brain flapping, like flapping your gums. But I'm okay with it, but I've never really you get
yeah. You've just sort of had to deal with it.
Yeah, but it doesn't really get mentioned much now. As in, like the name of the blog, it's like this is Dean's blog now. They're all sort of standalone on their own merit. But it sort of took off a bit, and then this agent emailed me out of the blue saying, I like your work, have you ever thought of writing a book? I said at that point I hadn't. And I thought, this went to my work address, because I didn't have a public address online then. So I said, what is this? Like, how do I write this book? Send £900 to an offshore account? Yeah, I know this works. But no, he was legit. I mean, sort of bounced ideas back and forth for ages about how to pitch a book, and then ended up taking to some publishers, got rejected a few times, refined the proposal, and blah blah blah. Then ended up being accepted, and here we are, I suppose, in the cabin which the book paid for, I guess. So
nice.
Must have got reasonably okay.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be doing really well. Like was it in like 15 different languages now?
21 different territories.
21 different territories.
But like also that there's US and Canada, obviously that's English, but their version. Yeah, but the rest are all different languages. So
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was the weirdest one. I was on a holiday in Mexico this year.
Yeah.
And it was just a hotel break just relax after all the stuff's been going on.
Yeah.
And it was basically to stay on the hotel resort, not even communicate with the outside world, but occasionally check my emails when the kids are sleeping.
Yeah.
And I got an email or a message alert saying, the Google alert thing saying, you are the #1 best-selling non-fiction author in Mexico. So, I'm in Mexico, literally I'm in Mexico. And just like book #1 in the country that day. That's really weird. They don't know I'm here. I didn't know anything about this. No one told me this. I just found out because of a Google alert. But that's really strange.
That's amazing. Well, I had a sort of the point where I realised how much you were smashing it. Because I see you on Facebook. I see you doing well. I'm like, yeah, okay. But also there's a sort of element to the public persona where you don't really know necessarily how well someone's doing. They're always going to be shouting about the good things, but you don't know about them. But I went to Hawaii last year, and in the airport in Seattle, where we were changing, like your book was just in a bookshop there, like with the American cover, and I was like, oh, okay, he's doing all right.
That's really weird, I think, because I've only seen it a few. I don't go out that much because of I go out plenty to do book events and stuff, but then I expect to see it there because that's why I'm there. And, but I keep getting people send me photos of other people with it, people I know. One friend Dave who found a woman, he saw a woman. He was going around looking now. He saw a woman on a train station platform, must have been Bristol Temple Meads. It was in Bristol. She was reading it. Nice. And he harangued her into standing there for a photo, and he sent it to me. And I said, have you just essentially sort of intimidated a woman so you could take a photo of it to send to me? He said, I guess you could say that. What was her name? I don't know, she was foreign. Oh, great. This is pre-Brexit as well, so God, what she must think now.
Oh, dear. Yeah. That's great. And the second book now is coming. It's imminent.
Yes.
I've seen the art.
Yes, so the cover's been designed, and I'm still finished off the edits. They're going to be finished at the end of this month. But I have written a second book. There's a full draft of what could easily be defined as a book.
Good.
Which has a beginning, middle, and end, and but it's all going for the works of all the proofreading, the edits, the formats, the inserts here and there, references.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the end of this month, or at least my contribution. Then they're going to take it and make it presentable. But yeah, so that's coming out May 3rd. That's the Happy Brain, which is essentially a follow-on. It's not the same. No, it's not like Idiot Brain doesn't have a narrative, so there's no there's no sort of like story to pick up. But
yeah, you're dealing with other parts of the brain, basically. Because the first one, the Idiot Brain, is about the things that go on in your head when you're doing stupid stuff.
It's like a whistle-stop tour of the brain.
Yeah.
The daft bits and the bits which so there's no sort of narrative arc apart from. No. Isn't the brain not as good as you think it is? Essentially all it is.
Yeah. And so the second one is about
it's
endorphins.
They feature prominently, but it's the story about how it came about is I never expected to write the first book, let alone the second one. Right. So when I got the first one, like with flat out what to do, I thought, well, I assumed they would they offered me enough in advance to make it justify my time writing it. I thought, well, no, that's basically like a job. Mm-hmm. My assumption was I'll just give it in. You might do some business here and there, like some readers of the blog might like it. We'll just go, well, that was fun. Then let's go our separate ways. Never speak again. Didn't turn out that way, as you mentioned. You can buy it in a Seattle airport now, which is, so it's gone better than that. So they said, well, what's the second one going to be about? Well, what? Because basically, I essentially blew everything I had on the first one, all my reserve knowledge, thinking, well, first only chance to write a book, might as well get it all out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Christ, difficult second album syndrome now.
Yeah.
And I genuinely couldn't think of what to write about. Like what would be a good idea? What would work? And spoke to loads of people. Like I had meetings with Guardian people, some friends in Cardiff from this comedy scene, and science friends. Like everyone sort of suggested ideas, but nothing really struck me as like, oh, that's a good. Like one of the first idea for the Idiot Brain, like just describing the daft bits of the brain. I was like, I've always gone about that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
But nothing hit that sort of like is all that going on. So like everyone eventually just lost. Not lost interest, but lost the ability to suggest anything. And they just, and then everyone just say, look, you just got to write about whatever makes you happy. And a very literal person, it turns out. what does make me happy? Like, why? Why are the things that make us happy? What's going on in the brain that they are positive and other things aren't and stuff? So it's like a big narrative. This one is more of a Ronson approach. Is it me finding stuff out and interviewing people and talking to people like comedians and Charlotte Church is in it. Spoke to her for a bit because does fame make you happy? And she was very famous very quickly, very young, and that's interesting side of things. And there's professors and there's a sex blogger and lots of eye-watering detail there. But So it's a fun romp. Hopefully, again, I got the point. I was just like it's just thrashing out because it took so long because the first book kept coming up. I just got look. It's done now. I don't care if it's good anymore. Just get out of my house. Stop making me look at this. I'm so sick of it. Like apparently that's very common in the second book because like, oh god, this is still happening.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Like I think when you get the opportunity to create something like that in the first instance, you want to make it. You want to put everything of yourself into it, and then, oh god, I've put everything of myself out.
Yeah, but that time, everything I wrote, I know this is right. I know this is, or at least I know enough about this to justify it. Whereas this one, I was finding stuff out as I was going along. I was actually learning things which I haven't done for a long time. Really rusty. Studying, I remember that.
It does feel harder to learn as you get older, doesn't it?
It is.
I mean, you would probably know.
It is. It's just the brain's less flexible as you get older because the dynamic processes which cause all the changes and stuff. You still can do it. It just takes more effort. As always.
Oh yeah, no, I have learned stuff. I'm not like
stop. Obviously, it's impossible to stop because I mean, it's isolated case. Every new experience is just rejected, and then you're just essentially frozen in time, which is unhelpful.
No, it's not a great way to live your life, I imagine.
No, it's impossible.
Alright, cool. So, the thrust of this podcast is to find out sort of what creatives, how they judge art today, right? So, the first question I've got for you is your fool's gold, right? So, what element of pop culture is massively popular that you cannot stand? Like, what do you not?
I thought of a few sort of answers to this, and like one thing I always refer to when asked something like this, like it's stuff. Katy Perry's debut song "I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It." I always had a real problem with that. With the caveat of I'm not a music buff in any way, shape, or form. I like music, but purely on a superficial level. Like I don't own albums. I listen to again and again. I'll just I'm very much I like what I like. I'll listen to that, and I'll move on. And so I don't go to live gigs and stuff. I just don't have that sort of mind which really embraces music. So any music criticism I have is going to be of a more analytical and sort of wider context. So it's a thing of, you know, I kissed a girl and liked it. I really didn't like that because I've seen quite a few at this point. The whole our ratings are flagging, get two girls kissing and bump up again. That's been going on for quite some time. I mean, Star Trek did it first, for God's sake. In the States, Brookside did it. So like that was just a well-known trick at this point. You know, and here's the lesbian scene, and also we've also been a real very sensitive to attempts at manipulation. You can see when it's happening. It's like when you watch X Factor. You say, "Oh, here comes the weepy one. Here comes the idiot one."
There's a format to those shows.
Exactly, and you can see it so blatantly. The fact that people get stuck into it is possibly more depressing. But this seemed like such a glaring example of that, because I remember like Aqua did Barbie Girl. I think it's like that kind of song. You just referencing Barbie Girl. Oh, that's the thing I know, like the Peter Kay approach essentially. And like even like Catatonia and Mulder and Scully, and that was nothing to do with it. But I always found that you just that's a cultural thing. Let's do a song about that. And this I found was the worst example of that. Sometime. I kissed a girl, not really a lesbian, but it's cool, isn't it? Like, shut up! You don't. What are you? Leave me alone. But that's not necessarily.
It's sort of wearing someone else's experience as a costume.
It's all that side to it as well. Like I think it's deeply cynical. I mean, she may well have done. I don't know. I think she would happily sing it even if she hasn't. That's the thing. And that's it seemed like one of the most cynical things for quite some time, but. I don't think that's considered, decent art. Like I think it's just known as disposable pop anyway. So when I think about it, we talk about the comedy side of things, and I sort of realised I was talking to several people the other day, and like they were talking about it, and I realised I've never really gotten the appeal of Bill Hicks. The alpha and omega of comedy. Anyone who's edgy, anyone who wants to be sort of cool, and you've got to be a big Bill Hicks fan. And I cannot say I've ever got into it. I don't see what they're seeing when it comes to Bill Hicks, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Hicks is a weird one. Like, Stuart Lee, I think, has got a great quote about Bill Hicks, which is, I wish I could be judged on only 40 minutes worth of material.
I was just follow-up thing, like, they said I just have to gradually tour the country, gradually reduce the quality of my own obituary. And that's a fair point, like, but even that material that he's got, he's got a standalone legacy of what he's got. Obviously, he died very young. He didn't deserve to die, and I'll say that. I don't think he's that bad.
I wasn't even suggesting that, Dean.
No, but I mean, I can definitely see the technical skill there, and I think I heard Al Murray talk about it in an interview, saying that he was in Edinburgh when Bill Hicks first turned up, and everyone was like watching him. And he said, everyone's like, oh, lo, he walks among us, touches wounds. But see, watching him goes, he's technically very proficient, and he's slick, and he's got it down pat, whereas in the Britain at the time, he's very much ramshackle, far more chaotic. So I think the image, a lot of it came from that. And it's also again, it comes down to the sort of attempts at manipulation. And I don't think he was doing it on purpose, this one.
Yeah.
But I think it was like, he is an American, but also he's slagging off all the stuff we don't like about America, which sort of validates us, and I think there's an element of that to it as well, which I found. Okay, it was before my time as well. I didn't get into comedy until after he passed, and so I guess I could have just missed that bubble. But I don't think he's that good, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, what I think about Bill Hicks, because I'm not actually a huge fan of Bill Hicks. Like, I think he's good. Like, I'll happily sit through.
That's sort of what I am with it as well. Yeah.
But I'm not in for the sort of the adoration that he seems to sort of get, because like the thing about Bill Hicks is he was something at the time. Like, he was groundbreaking. Like, there wasn't.
That's the thing. Yeah, there's also that. Like, I obviously, when I first got into comedy, that had happened. So it didn't have the same impact on me. So I want to give that caveat of at the time, I'm sure he was, oh, what is this?
That's it.
Yeah.
But I think things sort of, through nostalgia, through the sort of the rose-tinted glasses of time, they sort of keep their credence and even build on their credence that they had at the time. Despite the fact that actually other people have gone on and done better. They've taken that ball and they've made a bigger ball, or they've made it bounce higher, or they've pushed the boundaries beyond what... Because he still talked about as someone who's
Yeah, it's like still incredibly relevant now. I mean, we had a second Iraq War, which obviously created a lot of opportunity, still worked just as well. I mean, you've got to give him that credit for that.
Oh, yeah.
That's entirely fair. Obviously, Bush was president when he was alive, and his routines, and it wasn't so like. I think that weirdly that helped. The only reason Bill Hicks is famous is because we invaded Iraq. That's quite a conspiracy theory. That is
great.
But it's I think I work in psychiatry now as well. I teach a lot of to psychiatry course, and I see a similar thing with things like Freud. Like Sigmund Freud was groundbreaking. He's the father of psychoanalysis. Postulated the idea of having like a subconscious mind which influenced our behaviour. Yeah. So he deserves all the credit for that. But the people now still talk about that as if that was the end of it. Yeah. That's where it stopped. He discovered the truth. Beyond that, that was like one point in time, and we built on it since.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff now is kind of hack and kind of weird and kind of long since debunked. But because he was Freud, people still talk about it as if it's a contemporary understanding. And I feel like there's a lot of that with Bill Hicks in terms of comedy, and that he's still referred to as, he's sort of deferred to. He said that, like the whole thing about like if you do adverts, you're off the artistic roll call. Who are you to decide that, man? Like you don't have that authority. No offense.
I think whatever people want to do, like, is fine. Like, I know, we both know lots of comedians. I know people who've got some very, very strong opinions on adverts you can never do. And I just think, well, if someone's offering you loads of money to do so, like, I mean, I don't want to do adverts in this podcast, for example, but like that's just because I think it's a bit weird with the premise. I don't have a problem with advertising. Yeah,
well, exactly. It's but it's also, I think it's also sort of in denial of the nature of the world at the moment. I mean, to make a living as a comedian, it's both easier than it used to be and harder, because there are sort of gigs where you can sort of sustain a career, but there's a lot more competition now as well. Like, it's a lot more.
There are so many comics, and there are more clubs than there used to be. But because there are so many comics, actually the pay scale has stayed the same for like the last 30 years.
So it's kind of a flip on that side of things.
Yeah.
But I can listen to Johnny Vegas into on Rich Aaron's podcast, and he obviously did those Tetley Tea adverts with the monkey.
Yeah.
And obviously people love those, and he knows, like, he referenced like the Bill Hicks. He said, well, I missed the ads because I did those ads for like however long it took, and that funded my passion project for 6 months. So because I did those adverts, I could do 6 months worth of proper credible art and things, and it's sort of like a trade-off. Like, I mean, I don't really. Again, sort of like what I was going to say, you're off the artistic roll call for doing an advert. And I just find that far too black and white, far too dogmatic a stance. And because he said it, apparently it is the de facto. But it was a joke that was set up to except unless you're Willie Nelson. It was like it wasn't even meant to be a standalone comment. So Bill Hicks's legacy is sort of being taken out of context. Again, that's not his fault. Like, obviously.
Well, no, he's got very little control over it.
Exactly. If you're still alive, that isn't his fault. Yeah. Also, I think I am a bit sort of soured on him because I got into comedy and someone, might even be my wife, but she bought me the Bill Hicks biography. Is it Love All the People or one of those? It sort of starts off quite well, like sort of 2 chapters about his early life.
Yeah.
And the rest of the book is just transcripts from his live shows.
Right.
But like I say, he had 40 minutes of material, so it's the same show like 5 times in a row with minor tweaks each time.
Yeah.
And I know comedy isn't meant to be read. If you do a stand-up show, a lot of it is in the performance, it's the nuances, the delivery.
And that might be what we're missing as well, right? Because comedy is a live art. It's always better in person.
Yeah, well, there's that as well. Like, I mean, it's when I say I don't like Bill Hicks, I think I don't like the sort of the presence he has now rather than the actual comedian he was. But then I have seen his live stuff, and then I'm like, it doesn't do it for me then either. Again, it's of his time, before mine, but I still don't see this mass appeal that he has. And a lot of it's like there's one about doing the adverts. I can't remember when it was later, last live show, there's one video, the popular one. Again, I'm not a huge fan, so I don't remember the names of them. But he said, no, I was in England, I was asked to do a commercial for something called Orange Drink. How English is that? There's something called Orange Drink. I've never heard of that product in this country. I'm not that old, I'm not that much younger than him, so it sounds like, can you make that up purely for the sake of a joke? In which case, are you sort of criticising people for something you've made up? And then that, I'm very analytical, very scientific minded, so that's sort of like, you've got this integrity bullshit going on, and now you're suddenly saying, they asked me to do this, which it just didn't. I think I might have missed it, it might have been a small company thing, but still, it struck a sort of like,
So on a little tangent, because I get this. Do you have real problems with sort of logical inconsistencies in TV shows and stuff?
Yes and no. It's good. If it's consistent with a pre-established logical inconsistency...
Oh yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, if like, what I mean is, like, if something is true to its premise, I don't care how ridiculous that premise is. But there are just little things sometimes you're just like, yeah, but that's not even right in the world.
So you watch Doctor Who, like, there's no real rules as to what it does.
Yeah,
but when he says, like, I can regenerate 13 times, it says, I can regenerate 17 times. No, pick one, stick with it, you know.
Yeah.
You're creating your own structure here. But yeah, like, when you violate your own rules, that to me is... Well, it smacks of hypocrisy, doesn't it? Even if it's not done on purpose, it is... Yeah. And it takes it out of it a bit, takes it out of the moment, which is important for a performance or a creative medium like that.
I mean, the most brilliant thing, you've just sort of fired something in my brain there. So the reboot of Doctor Who, new Doctor Who, right? The most brilliant thing that Russell T Davies sort of created for this new is the concept that the Doctor always lies.
Oh, yeah.
Because it fixes all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
it's really...
like, he's always got a random age, he's always got his random opinions on things. Which I really like.
Like they did on The Simpsons thing when Lucy Lawless was doing a Q&A for the nerds, the comic book guy, and he said, I noticed in one episode that you're flying this, but in the next scene your horse is a different type of horse. And like, it says, well, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it. In the scene for wizard, it's like a catch-all. Wizard, it was a wizard. But yeah, I don't think you can blame wizards for Bill Hicks and stuff, but it's
no.
But it's sort of like, I mean, comics now I respect a lot, and they are very much like, oh, because Bill Hicks said, sort of. It's the way in which he's sort of revered. It's the reverence around him which I have problems with, I guess.
Yeah, like I think that's a problem, sort of in any aspect. When one person becomes an icon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Then they get zealots, right? That's what happens. People, people start preaching the word of Bill Hicks or
any politics now you look at it, it's become very much like that.
Oh yeah, that's it. Like
Corbyn, the Boris, the Trump stuff. It's all of similar manifestations about the person. If you put someone beyond criticism, then
there's an issue.
That's a problem.
I mean, that's how
But it was, then also some of the stuff like he did the big rant about Goat Boy and went, I'm going to have sex with a 16-year-old girl. I was like, this isn't really funny. Is it? It's uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know if that was his point, but like, I'm not. I do comedy. I'm not seeing the joke here. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The joke that he's only got 40 minutes of material, it's not quite true. Like there are lots of sort of shakily filmed bits out there and stuff, and there's a lot of dross in Bill Hicks's. If you look at that 40 minutes that you can go out and buy on DVD. Yeah, that's very slick and it's very but I think he just tries stuff out a lot, and that's a Bill Hicks I'm actually willing to engage with.
Yeah, well, that's like we treat him as an actual comedian, and he probably would be a lot better than this idea of him. He's got that clip on any of them sort of Bill Hicks destroys a heckler, some drunk woman, and he just goes full on insane. And like, shut up, stupid bitch, suck my cock. I mean, that's not really the most nuanced. No. That was witty banter. That's just a screaming angry man. That's a drunk woman. Which, again, any other actor of that, you go, calm down, mate. Like, it's Hicks. He nails it.
Someone do that now.
Yeah, destroys it. Whoa, like that's not really.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sort of not on board with the Hicks train, as it were.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's. I mean, that's the point of this podcast. You're allowed not to like popular things. Like that's what Fool's Gold is about.
And I'm saying I'm not actually saying you can't just the Hicks. You just that come to me and say, because Bill Hicks says, don't expect me to say, well, of course, I must be wrong then because Bill Hicks said it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's do something a bit nicer.
Okay.
So your hidden gem. What's out there that's flying under the radar that you absolutely love?
It's kind of an old thing. And no, it's a bit of backstory. This might sound like some sort of like bias or like chubbiness or.
Okay.
For those podcast listeners who don't know, because it's not something I sort of mentioned from the off, is that one of the weirdest things that happened with The Idiot Brain, my first book, was that it was purchased. The TV rights for it were purchased by Whoopi Goldberg, who was a big fan apparently.
I remember this Facebook post.
Yeah. That was a strange few days. My agent emailed me. I was actually getting ready to go to London to visit the in-laws, so packing up the car, all the kids and stuff, and about 5 minutes before we left, right, I'm going to use the bog before we go. So I'm sat in the toilet, got this email from, like, thinking it was something to do with the trip. And so my agent saying, are you sitting down? I said, well, technically, yes. Well, hopefully it won't be another few minutes. And so then I finished, washed my hands, walked ring, like, what? I said, are you sure? Are you? Or promise? I said, Chris, just get on with it. Trying to get to London. I said, well, I've been in touch with some of the last few weeks, whose name is Deja Dolphin. I said, I obviously thought I was a spammer. So of course you would.
Yeah.
But she's from LA. She works for this, represents a lawyer who works for a production company. They want to buy the rights, the TV rights to your book. Is that even a thing? Like, there's nothing. No, I wasn't prepared for this. This was completely out of left field. And he said, well, so we did some digging. We got passed up the chain a bit. It turns out it's One Whole Productions, Whoopi Goldberg's production company. Okay. That's not. I mean, if you had to ask me which celebrity is going to get involved with this, she was down the list. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so I've got to bounce back and forth emails. Says, well, they are serious. She actually is a fan. It turns out. So I said, well, obviously, I'd love to say yes. You can have the rights to make a TV show about this, but I know of her. Obviously, we don't know anything about her. Like, is she a Scientologist? Is she? Big stars.
It's both possible.
Big stars they tend to be, don't they? Tom Cruise is, John Travolta is. Like, those are big names. And, but I thought, well, I'd much like to say yes if she was to buy this book and then turned into some sort of pro-Scientology with a hint of brains about it.
Yeah.
It might do good for my sales, but I'm becoming the Scientology guy from then on in. And, as a science writer, that isn't helpful.
No.
So I thought, well, I'd like to know what they want to do with it for a start, and what's her take on it. And so like, we arranged a conference call with One Whole Productions. So I call this number to get to the New York offices. Anyway, I think, well, I'll speak to the PA or the head of the company sort of thing, and then they'll sort of be passed the ladder and see what Whoopi Goldberg says, and it'll come back, and then. So I dialed in like a sort of phone, and I said, "Hi, is this Dean?" Yes, this is Whoopi.
Oh my God!
No, this isn't how it's meant to go. I was like, what the? She's like, yeah, hi. Like, my agent's calling as well. Like, oh, okay, so just 4 of us, and a business partner, Tom. So we're just talking for 20 minutes, and I think this is the best indicator of what she's like. Because 20 minutes in, she goes, oh, we haven't introduced ourselves yet. I'm Whoopi. I'm an actress. And we are familiar with your output. Yeah. So, I end up working with Whoopi Goldberg, and I still technically am. So, I can't claim to be completely biased about this, but the truth is, even before this happened, my sort of go-to feel-good, just relaxing film. Maybe that was one of those films you just put on me for a bit of a bad mood, or you just fancy some, just to chill for a bit.
Yeah.
Mine is The Associate, the 90s sort of body swap comedy where...
Okay. I don't think I've seen it, actually.
It very much flew under the radar. It was during Whoopi Goldberg's weird phase of just making loads of films which sort of were in the cinema for like a fortnight, then...
Right, yeah.
Almost straight to video, but not quite.
Yeah.
It's... The concept, she plays Laurel Ayres. She's a high-flying Wall Street executive for one of the huge companies, the sort of brokers, and she's obviously the only black woman in the upper reaches who want to be vice president, but her business partner or co-partner Frank, who's like the typical Wall Street slick Gordon Gekko bloke, essentially screws her over, takes a promotion, but they say you can't have a promotion because you are essentially a black woman. It probably is a fair reflection. Yeah. She ends up setting her own company. Nobody wants to do business with her, but she makes up a business partner, a white man, Robert Kelly.
Right.
And becomes a massive success because she's really good at it. It's a very much sort of paint by numbers 90s. She ends up having to dress up as a man to fool all these. So Whoopi Goldberg technically in drag in a full fat suit to be a bloke.
Wow. And
then that was how it was billed. Like, I saw the adverts for it. I was only a kid when it first came out, so it just looked like sort of like a reverse Mrs. Doubtfire essentially. So
yeah.
And it looked sort of like they just made like Whoopi Goldberg as a man. That was the pitch of it. Like that. Oh, that's going to be crap, isn't it? Because it's just yeah. But I ended up sort of seeing it randomly on Sky a few years later with my mother. Just sat there like Sunday night, just looking for something to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is what it's like, and I ended up really enjoying it. And I since found it on DVD, and I got my wife into it, and we both just watch it. For its own sake. It's a film which is simultaneously really stupid. I don't deny that for a start. It's massively stupid, but you might be actually. It also seems a lot cleverer than people give it credit for as well. It's weirdly. I think it would do a lot better now if it was released now, but it wasn't at the time because now it's all like, it's about a black woman in the financial industry, and she ends up being best friends with Diane West. So
Okay.
The entire film is basically a buddy comedy between two older women, which is one black, one white. And that's sort of, you don't get that at all.
No.
Anymore. Which is quite innovative for that side of things.
There's
There's like a tech boom element too, and it's like Donald Trump has a cameo in it back when he was.
Oh god! Back when he was
only a localist.
Cameoing, he ruined an episode of The Fresh Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Back when he was a localised supervillain, not a global one. We all have ambitions. But, But it's.
He's doing well in fairness.
Yeah, yes. Can't begrudge anyone's success really, but it does sort of. I watch it now. I appreciate. There is a part. I'll say spoiler warning. It's a 30-year-old film. I mean, people can't watch it. There's a part where they try to kill off the guy who doesn't exist,
right?
Because of all it gets all quite convoluted and tangled.
Yeah,
and that's quite stupid. As someone who watches, basically, they try to sort of fake his death, and in this era of post CSI, when you know how specific that sort of thing is, like it looks, no, that would never ever work. But I find it a lot cleverer than people give it credit for, because it just seems to. Like, she lives in this huge building she owns, and like there's little touches. Like she walks in, and one of her tenants, like she lives amongst the tenants, like a classic rental thing. It's like a sort of 6-foot drag queen guy, and he walks like this, and like Barbra Streisand. It's a rent check, honey. Like, upstairs this old Jewish lady, I think played George's mother in Seinfeld. I think it was her.
Okay, right.
It's like you business women, what are you doing? It's like like you get all this money, but when you come home, what do you have? It's independence. It's overrated. I'm making some cocoa, and you are not invited. Because I'll be up in 5 minutes. Like do that. That's like a lovely little setup. Like there's a whole backstory there, attention to detail, which you don't normally get. Like it's not.
No.
Some care has been put into this. You can tell on that level, and I don't. I just find it really a really compelling, enjoyable film.
I mean, it sounds charming.
Yeah, it's charming. That's what I mean. It's aware of what it is. It is a stupid film. Like it's the whole setup.
That's actually one of my like I do not mind a stupid film or a brainless whatever. Like as long as it knows.
Yeah.
If it is self-aware.
Yeah.
If I watch something that's just dumb, which thinks it's smart, I'm like,
or even it's lazy. Like I find like epic movie things. Like let's tuck a bunch of movie references in. She gets her tits out. That's a film, isn't it? Yeah, that's essentially what it is a lot of the time, and it's just pure cynicism. But this one seems to have a bit more heart to it, as in they actually do seem to care about the script and dialogue and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a hint of realism. Like there's basically a black woman getting treated like shit by the rich businessman community, which actually does sort of.
Yeah, I mean that rings true, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm really curious now though about. Are they making a series of your thing? Is that happening? Or is it sort of
well, the TV they bought the rights,
as they say?
I think so. Yeah, but I think they don't speak to me that often because well, I've been cloistered away writing the second book for ages, so I haven't really spoken to anyone. I did actually meet them when she came over and to do London.
I saw the picture.
Yeah.
It's another moment when I was jealous of you.
Yeah, I can take credit for introducing Whoopi Goldberg to Welsh Cakes because Mother said never turn up empty-handed to meet someone, and she's a big fan of raisins. That worked out well.
Yeah, that's good.
So that was a surreal occasion, but yeah, they these things take God knows how long. So all happened is they bought the rights, so they're taking it to people who might want to make it. So like it's a production company, but they need to have someone on board to. Someone's going to bankroll it for a start, And we did have some meetings with the Discovery, the Science Channel in America, some branch of the Discovery Channel, but they didn't go for it in the end. But so I have no idea how long this sort of thing takes. It's been less than a year, so that's actually.
Oh yeah, I mean there's plenty of shows are in development for a long time.
I mean, it could amount to nothing, but maybe the second book takes off, and then they go, who's got the first one there? And then they sort of feeds back into that. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still cool.
Well, I've got plenty of anecdotes out of it, and that's all I care.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're smashing this podcast, mate.
This has been a highlight so far. I'll be honest. I'll tell you that my favourite one, which they bought the rights to the book, the TV rights. Yeah. So I have to go with my agent. Who takes care of all that? Yeah. I wouldn't think no, I've got an agent. I need one. I have no idea if any of this works. I'm just the guy sat in the box, just writing stuff out. You guys deal with it. So they sort of said, right, the only thing is they pay the agents. The agents pass on the money to me, my cut once they've taken theirs. Blah blah blah. Some confusion. They sent a check to pay for the rights, presented to me. So I had to cash a cheque from Whoopi Goldberg, but it was in dollars, so I couldn't just put it into like the pay-in machine.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I had to go to the Kincoid branch of HSBC before Christmas, go to the counter and said, "Can you help me cash the cheque from Whoopi Goldberg?" Just stared at by the clerk across the counter, like, "All right." Sounds like a very valid request. At 2 o'clock on a Tuesday in Kincoid.
Yeah. Look, Google me. I'm on Amazon.
It wasn't though. That's not an achievement, Gary, to tell you that.
Well, yeah. I mean, wow, that's great. All right, I mean, I'm definitely going to go and watch this film now. I'm going to go find it somewhere. I'm going to petition Netflix to purchase the rights.
It might be on there. I don't know. I haven't actually looked it up yet.
Oh, there's so much stuff on Netflix. It's just, I have no idea what's there.
Exactly. I mean, it was never a huge smash. I don't think anyone sort of holding it away. Like, wait till she hits big, then we're going to re-release this. It's no Theodore Rex. Are you familiar with Theodore Rex?
I don't know Theodore Rex.
I'll just say Google it. It's
okay.
It's marvellous.
Oh well, I love that story about meeting Whoopi Goldberg. Like, I mean, there's so many great stories. Like, I love the fact that like she wanted to be on Star Trek for ages, and they just didn't believe it was a true request.
Exactly.
Like, but no, she loves Star Trek. She wants to.
She spoke about it in her live show and said she was sat there with LeVar Burton, Geordie LaForge.
Okay, yeah.
And she told him, "I want to be in Star Trek," when he first told her he had the part.
Yeah.
And so it's her own story. Just told on stage at the Palladium. And so we met up a few months later, and I said, "Did you tell them I want to be in Star Trek?" He said, "Yeah, they didn't believe me." I said, "What?" I said, "No, they didn't. Did you have their number? Let's call him now." Said, "Okay." So they called him. I called Roddenberry there and then because she was the last person he ever cast before he died.
Oh, well,
so
yeah.
So like, listen, he's like, "I'm here with Whoopi." He goes, "What? I want to be in Star Trek." So that's how Hollywood works, apparently.
Yeah. Once you get the number, so it's all who you know.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we'll finish off with some like quick fire questions, right? So this is just your favourite and your least favourite of different mediums.
Yeah.
And I will try and remember the questions that I normally ask as we're doing that. So we'll start with your favourite TV show.
At the moment, Rick and Morty.
It's brilliant. I love it so much. It's your least favourite TV show.
Plenty of candidates, but I don't watch a lot of TV. But I will say, just like, The X Factor just really grates on me the wrong way. Everything about it I find despicable.
Yeah, reality TV does not fare well on that question.
No.
Your favourite movie?
Moment, I'm gonna say Inside Out. Don't really like at the moment. The Pixar one, because obviously as a neuroscientist, I spotted all the work that went into that.
Okay, right.
There's a lot of sort of actually that's there's a lot of little subtle jokes which, if you know psychology, actually. Pixar are known to do extensive research on their subject. So
I mean, I really like the Pixar ethos. Like they, when they start making a film, they try and start making a film which they don't have the technology to make yet.
Yes,
that's part of their thing. Like,
pushes them ahead really far, doesn't it?
Yeah. So your least favourite movie?
Special place in my heart in that respect for Pearl Harbor. The massively overblown, pointless, tedious, big budget film which I saw on my first date with my ex-girlfriend.
Right.
So we've since obviously split up and she's married to a second wife now, so it's that bad a film, I'll be honest. It can literally turn someone off whoever they're with forever in every possible way.
Wow. I'm sorry, dude.
I'm
doing all right now.
I'm over it, yeah.
Married, a couple of kids.
My wife and 2 children seem to suggest that I may have come to terms with the loss.
Okay, so your favourite book?
I mean, apart from my own, you mean? Which I wouldn't reread my own. It's I think it's overpriced.
Not again.
It's overpriced for what it is, I'll be honest. The book I always go back to, it's the sci-fi book Kiln People by David Brin. Kiln.
Never heard of it.
No, it's not a big one, but it's basically it's a future world. It's almost a utopia.
Right.
Where people can have essentially disposable clones. Someone creates, you can create golems of yourself, but mass produced. Like everyone's got their own 3D printer, just print them off.
That's cool.
I need 5 a day, and then they come back at the end of the day and absorb back into your head. I think the concept was used for the sci-fi film Surrogates a few years back with Bruce Willis, where everyone has their own robot body, which they sort of go out about with. It was a terrible film. It was really sort of like, let's put out a sci-fi film, keep people happy for a bit. It's nothing. It's really flat, but the similar concept there. This one's got he invents a whole new field of science called solistics to sort of explain it. No, I'm very much. There's also multiple personality. It's like the same guy in 4 different bodies talking at the same day, going through the same day. Like so, it's
that's really fun.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of it. I always try to espouse it when I can.
Yeah, well, you've done that. What's your least favourite book?
Again, quite a few candidates. I review a lot of books for Focus magazine, so got through quite a few really bad science books. I don't want to name them now because that sort of seems mean-spirited. But the book I ended up reading, just bought it for a train journey to the shop. Like, I'll just pick one up randomly. It was Richard Lehman's One Rainy Night, I think it was called. Okay. It's like proper pulp horror. But it's absolute gash. It's absolutely shite. On the cover, it's got the quote: "If you've missed Richard Lehman, you missed a treat." Stephen King. But it's, if you missed Richard Lehman, you missed a treat. Ellipsis. ... It's assuming you like, which suggests there's like assuming you like absolute shite. And it's about this town. This black rain falls on this town, and then starts killing each other. But then there's lots of shagging as well. And there's a really unnecessary rape scene, which they just get over really quickly, and end up they find out what it was. There was this voodoo priest who was burning a Bible. A Bible? What? Pick a religion, stick to it. It's like he's knocked out in an afternoon quite clearly by a guy who was probably wanking at the time. I'm not a fan. I'll say that much.
Okay, your favourite band or musician?
The only band I really ever got into was Pulp, to be honest. Still a big fan. Still like all this stuff, and like the intellectuals of Britpop essentially. I sort of seem to see as they're above the whole Blur versus Oasis thing, and Common People was one of my favourite songs for ages. But
it's a great song.
Yeah, like some people say, like a lot of people you meet these days, like that was a sort of. That wasn't meant to be an instruction manual. That was a piss take of people who do that. And, But it's sort of like Pulp and Common People are my usual go-to songs. But it changes week to week. Like I'll just I've just heard recently. So
okay. So do you have a least favourite?
I think it does come back to I Kissed a Girl and I Like It because I just find it so incredibly cynical and it may be me reading too much into it, but I just can't shake that off. As in this. Nothing about this sits right with me at all. It's just
Oh, favourite superhero?
Oh, good question. So I got into the Punisher lately, purely for. I do like a lot of them. Like I was also a Wolverine fan. Like I like Deadpool and stuff. I enjoyed watching Logan and all the Avengers. My kids are really into.
Basically, all the murdery superheroes.
But at the moment, it's like I've read a few different books and. Just like the image of the Punisher, how he is actually he's just a man. He's not a superhero in that respect. If anything, he wouldn't describe himself as such. But
if anything, he's a villain.
But they're also scared of him because he's very black and white. He's like the Rorschach, isn't he? Watchmen. I like the juxtaposition of it. Of all these powers. I just kill people. That's what I do. But you try the right thing required to make him a good guy. Interesting. I find the character fascinating.
Okay. Do you have a least favourite?
I don't. Well, not one thing. I can never really get on with the Fantastic Four. I do find them.
Okay.
I don't see what's so fantastic about you. Like, you do seem annoying more than anything. Like.
I think a lot of the Fantastic Four's lifespan has been utter dross. Like, so the most recent, like, there isn't even a comic book at the moment, but the most recent sort of Jonathan Hickman run that went up to Secret Wars, the event, which he also managed. That is brilliant. I would check it out. Fantastic Four and FF, because he makes them relatable.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, they were the first ones, weren't they? The first
I think they were the first Marvel superheroes.
Marvels, and I think maybe like back to the whole Hicks thing, because they were the first and therefore the most sort of groundbreaking at the time. Then they become they got a lot more inertia behind them that is perhaps not necessarily warranted in some cases. Yeah,
and also like there's very little new creation in comics from those big like Marvel and DC, the big publishers at the moment, because independent comics are doing well, and people don't want to give their ideas to these massive corporations who'll then make billions off putting them in movies. And it's fair, but
I'll also say I've never really quite got my head around the whole Thor thing I do sort of like him in the films, but the whole Norse mythology / aliens / advanced technology / superhumans / not humans, I do find it a bit too convoluted for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, so that doesn't really bother me, that aspect of it, but what does annoy me is I reckon about 99%, again, actually, apart from some of the most recent stuff, but that's because Thor is not playing Thor, but it's just so dull.
Right, there's that, the old Shakespearean vibe.
Yeah. I was like, oh god.
Battle of the gods over time. It's like sometimes happens when you have things on too big a scale, they sort of lose interest in them because you can't really. There's a lack of a sense of peril.
Yeah.
Because it's just too big. Someone says I'm going to blow up a building. Like, well, I go get your head on that. Like, I'm going to destroy half the universe.
Okay.
Not really fitted by perception.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Alright, so, final question. This doesn't have to be quick fire, not that the others have been, or ever are.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's. I like hearing what people have to say about things that they pick.
I assumed that was the point. So.
So, if someone was going to make the story of your life, what medium would you want it to be in, and then what would you call it?
I think, because my background is a sort of a weird one. It is like I'm the working class valley boy who used to live in a pub, who is now this international neuroscience guy who's sort of sidelining comedy and writing, and it's like it's a weird arc. So I don't. It always to me it sort of smacks of like a sort of almost like a mockumentary type thing.
Okay,
I think that would be handy, but accurate as in this is what happens.
So a mockumentary, like so a documentary with the tone of a mockumentary.
Yeah. So it's like constantly asides the camera. Oh my god! Can you believe this? Because that happened a lot, Yeah. Ask me who are you talking to? Because I don't know actually.
Into the invisible camera.
Yeah, but it's I think maybe a couple of series with it, sort of early life, middle life, later stuff. But I think that would be the best way to sort of get it all in terms of, but also to sort of cover all the various tones that my life has seemed to have occupied. Yeah. So that's how I. Probably maybe a book would do it too, but I don't know. I just think there's a lot of stuff happened to me which has got good potential for a visual medium. So
okay, cool. And so, what would you call that?
I think I probably would call it Valley Dweller. That's always the sort of thing I've always because. I found I don't know if it's even true or not, but I did find one of those key rings of what does your name mean?
Okay.
Then my father went somewhere and brought me him back, but it did mean Valley Dweller. So, that's weird because
it's oddly specific.
Yeah, also weirdly coincidental. That is exactly what I am. And so it's like a weird coincidence, which much of my life has been based around. I mean, I'm sure there were like 15 other key names that said Valley Dweller as well, but this one was weirdly relevant. So. So that sort of just seems relevant and
that sounds great. That's
quite succinct as well.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Dean, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Garrett.
And I look forward to the second book.
Yeah, it might be awful. I can't rule it out.
Well, we can't guarantee that, but for now, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Wow, so that was Dean Burnett. I'm really looking forward to his second book, The Happy Brain, which will be out next year. It's a funny thing in these podcasts when I talk to people about what they don't like, in that quite often it's not necessarily about the quality of the art in question, but more about how the wider world have taken it on. And this was a great example of that. Nobody's saying Bill Hicks wasn't good, he just wasn't God. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that at thatthispod.com. I don't advertise on this show because it all feels a bit corporate to me, so anything you give literally goes straight into making more of this. As I mentioned at the top, you can help me choose the theme tune for this show. The first 5 episodes all have different music, which I will then repeat over episodes 6 to 10 and 11 to 15. I didn't realise that episodes 10 and 11 would be going out at the same time, so to make it fair, they'll all get one more playthrough. There are 3 ways you can vote, either by making a comment on your donation to the podcast, by reviewing the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and you can share the podcast on social media, tagging me in at thatthispod. So that I know which episode you want, I've come up with a little code. In the comment on your donation or in the review or share of the show, include the word Ocelot for the music in episodes 1, 6 and 11, Tiger for episodes 2, 7 and 12, Thrush, episodes 3, 8 and 13, Fox, 4, 9 and 14, and Falcon for the music in episodes 5, 10 and 15. I'll tally them up, and whatever you decide will be the official Not That This theme music. Of course, if you've got anything else to say, you're welcome to email me as well. I'd love to include some letters in the podcast now and again, so if you've got some praise, advice, questions, or even suggestions for future guests, do let me know. The email address is on the website, or if you can spell my name, it's Geraint@thatthispod. In the next episode, which is already up, I speak to Hannah James and Grace Petrie, two folk musicians from different ends of the genre. It's also the first time that I've spoken to someone who's been talked about on this podcast before, as Grace Petrie was actually a hidden gem back in episode 4. Very exciting. I'll catch you then.